We're here to hack education, are we not? Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon we have to change the world. Hence the slide. Actually, you know, I don't think he quite got it right, because I like to go back to an even more famous educator who said, education doesn't change the world, education changes people. It's the people that change the world. And quite honestly, with the vibe that we've got here and online, I'm very optimistic, because some of the things I'm going to talk about in terms of changing the world are not so optimistic. They're quite uncomfortable realities. But it's people that are going to make the difference. And we need to be thinking about not hacking education, but thinking about what education is going to help people to do, to hack the world. Hence my title, Shock to the System, Hacking for Humanity. You see, there are some uncomfortable truths about the world we live in today. And I don't want to be pessimistic on such a high energy day like today. But just three facts, three uncomfortable truths to give you. Number one, source Oxfam. 8 men who happen to live in North America, white, own 50% of the world's wealth. That's a sobering fact. Second, there are more people today enslaved than ever in history, and particularly children. Now we hear about slavery, and at the moment it's not very popular. You're seeing universities, particularly in the United Kingdom, doing things to address the wrongdoings of what might have been seen as the slavery period. Actually, we're living through it right now. More slavery than ever in history. Make it a little bit more relevant to this event. Sobering fact, around 50% of the world yet to have access to the internet. And we're not careful, what are we hacking for? More gaps? It's just 3 points why actually education desperately needs to be hacked for humanity. That's our future. These are the people that we serve. And humanity will judge us if we do not. And the clock is ticking. It's not just the developing world here, primarily perhaps the ones engaging in the event like today. So hacking for humanity really is a moral purpose. This is serious stuff. We're not just talking about learning here, I have to say. And I guess my challenge to you is, if not you, if not me, who? Who will take responsibility for building a more socially just and more evenly distributed future? That's what's at stake here. And in many respects, what we're hearing, sometimes even at events like this, if we're not careful, how education is in change and we have to respond. The digital world is moving so fast, education needs to move and change. Instead of the discussion of not education in change, but in this entangled narratives, education for change. What is the change we're seeking for humanity through education in the ways that new digital technologies can serve our education system? What type of system do we want? Actually, that question is really a question, what type of society do we want to build through these new technologies? Not what the technologies will do for us. So, in many respects, whether it be digital learning or technology-enhanced learning, whatever language you want to use, needs to be not the big idea, but in service of the big ideas. What are the big ideas? We've got some grand challenges. Great that we've identified. I've given you some of the other challenges we face, and I haven't even mentioned climate change, perhaps connecting from the last talk. You can see that this slide is anchored in the Sustainable Development Goals. We've already set some of those big challenges, the big ideas. And to finish on, I guess, the bookend, starting with the rocking tune from Billy Idol, he once said, that if your world doesn't allow you to dream, then move on to one where you can. Actually, we don't have the luxury of moving on to another world unless you really do want to go to Mars on that spaceship that's being built. The world we're in now is the only one we've got, and the clock is ticking. That's how important it is that we engage. So what we really need is the courage, and I absolutely agree to talk about the joy of learning, but also the pain, because I will talk about how painful this is as well. Slight point of difference, if you like. Joy and pain go hand in hand. We need the courage to be future makers, not future takers. Don't take someone else's future that's being given to us. And the great thing about this event is people coming together to co-construct the future and new frontiers for a better world for tomorrow. So, thank you. I'm going to end on one little advertisement. I'm the chair of the World Conference on Online Learning, exactly a month away from today in Dublin. And so please, if you don't know about the conference, this is really the preeminent conference in the world on online learning. It's in our convention centre. Please think about coming, talk to me. Virtual people, send me an email. So thank you very much.
That was Mark Brown. Wow, what a presentation. I love Billy Idol. Very cool stuff.
Little false starter.
No, but hey. Billy Idol's always messy anyway, so it was messy, so it's good. It fits the bill. All right, any questions for Mark? Who wants to attend his conference in Ireland? I want to. You see it? I get 50% of that.
I already know he's coming.
I'm just kidding. Any questions? Comments? Disagreements. Look, I mean, you brought in some pretty heavy facts for us on concentration of wealth, on slavery, so basically loss of human rights. 50% of the world's population still not on the internet, so lack of access. You didn't really bring out, stuff, maybe hints of the hope that we would see, maybe in 5 minutes you could talk about those things for us, and what education is doing to address these three pretty radical facts that you brought to bear. We'd like to hear how education can tackle these things.
So I don't want to be at risk of, since I quoted a very famous Brazilian educator, flipping instead of the pedagogy of the oppressed to be in danger of the pedagogy of the depressed. Actually, I'm a very optimistic person, and since I use the Sustainable Development Goals there, you can go on and see live from UNESCO's site how we're tracking on those Sustainable Development Goals. Actually, at the World Conference, we have someone who's coming from Asia where there's an amazing work going on linked to the Sustainable Development Goals. So these things are small, and if you look at the wealth gaps over time, there are some very good news stories, but equally the gaps are actually getting larger at a global macro level. So ultimately you can see the philosophy I wear on my sleeve, that we will all benefit from a more equally distributed world. This is not easy stuff. We can't put our head in the sand, but we have a moral responsibility to be engaged here, and I feel absolutely optimistic that it's people like those of us here engaged in this that we can change the world. If I didn't believe that, I may as well go back and just watch television or crawl up and die.
I think we're going to finish it on those great words. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mark. Hey, thank you. Give a big hand. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a little break and we're back with the president of Aalto University, Ilkka Niemilä, 3 o'clock. See you.